Hello and welcome to Midnight Musings. I'm your host, Bren.
And I'm Jay.
Yes, and yes, this is episode 3 of the most amazing podcast in the world.
Even if we do say so ourselves.
Yeah, we do. And what are we talking about today, Jay?
Oh, we're really going to heat things up today.
It's a juicy one.
It really is.
Much debate has been had.
Yes. So, the console wars.
Yes, those pesky console wars. I mean, they've been raging since the early 90s, let's face it, haven't they?
Yes, they
Possibly
have.
before.
I mean, yeah, well, ever since there was more than one console manufacturer, Nintendo and Sega, you always remember them.
Yeah.
Was it the Sega does what Nintendo don't?
Yeah. That was if not a little bit, perhaps on the line of legal issues. That was a great marketing strategy.
It was, that. Yeah. You definitely don't see that anymore.
Yeah.
So as far as the company side of it, everything's got a lot more civil.
Yes.
Because they're always praising each other. They're always
stroking each other's feathers and going, oh yeah. Microsoft, Phil Spencer coming out on stage and be like, oh well done, PlayStation. Yeah, you're really cool, and they're all like patting each other on the backs.
Yeah, ignoring the whole Activision Blizzard takeover. It's all very nice on the corporate side. It's the fans now.
Yeah, fans in inverted commas.
Yes.
I mean, let's face it, in any franchise, television, music, comics, there is a fan base, and there are fans that just enjoy the things that they enjoy, and then there are fans that really get into the whole, like, the brand loyalty becomes gospel almost. And I think that's kind of sad.
Yeah, especially when it gets to the levels that we're seeing now, when people being attacked.
Recently, didn't the guy that plays Kratos, God of War, after accepting an award, basically told everyone to just chill and give each other a break? Did you see that?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, we'll talk about the BAFTAs in a little bit.
But, okay.
Our topic leads quite nicely into that.
Perfect.
But yeah, it's getting stupid now. I mean, you had an incident recently, didn't you, with an individual?
Yeah, I mean, let's not beat around the bush. I made a comment on social media and got clapback for it. It's something I do occasionally. But yeah, it was basically about, I don't know, made a passing comment about, like, Microsoft seems to make a lot of promises about games, first party games from their studios, and yet where are they? It feels like I'm always waiting for Xbox to release a game, like, whereas PlayStation have got the games just there now. It's like, oh, you want a next gen game? Well, here's Ratchet and Clank, and here's this, and here's that, and recently, like, here's God of War Ragnarok, here's Last of Us Part 2 or whatever, and I just find that, like, Microsoft's made a lot of announcements, and you looked into the announcements that they made, haven't you?
Yes, I have all the information here.
Yes, and we're still waiting for those, and some of them are even to a point of, well, are they ever going to arrive? Just run down that list a little bit, Jane. See if we can jog people's memories of what Microsoft actually promised.
Yeah. So I just want to, say first, we're not clowning on Xbox. We both own PlayStations, Xboxes, Nintendos. We have no allegiances.
No.
So this is no way clowning on Xbox. We're just giving facts.
We both pay for Game Pass as well, so
yeah.
No hate here.
And I absolutely love Game Pass, and I still prefer my Xbox Series X over my PS5 as form of how the console works and the UI and everything. But please just let me use it.
Yeah. So let's get to these promises. Yeah.
Right, so we'll go all the way back to 2018.
Now, that's a long time ago.
It is, yeah. Do you remember those days?
Pre-COVID and pandemic.
Before all of that happened.
Yeah,
life was normal. So the earliest announcements I've got here were for Starfield.
Right.
And the Elder Scrolls 6. They were both announced at the same time. Now, when they were announced, they clearly said that Elder Scrolls 6 is going to be a long way away, and that's fine.
They didn't lie about that. They were like, yeah, this is going to be a long way away. That's fine.
Yeah. But Starfield, I mean, it is finally coming out this year.
Yes.
They've said September. We'll see, because I think that's like the 4th release date.
Yeah, I mean, I think just quickly on this topic, I think companies, especially Starfield and, Bethesda with Microsoft, are they're probably looking at what's happened a lot recently with the fan base and like launching games too soon and things not being right. Can the game survive the backlash? I mean, I'd say with Starfield, you're probably safe, because if Fallout 76 was anything to go by, that launched practically unplayable, yet managed to retain a fan base and is still doing quite well and being successful now that it's all fixed.
Yeah,
in inverted commas.
It just works.
It just works now.
Yeah.
Much later. So yeah, I don't know if it'll slip again, but it wouldn't surprise me if it did. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, but again, I mean, you made a good point there. I would rather developers be given more time and delay games to, launch a finished product, because it's better for them. It's much better for us as players. But when we get to another topic, is like, are they announcing games too early? That's a topic for a different day.
Another topic, but if anything, this list, as you go down it, is probably going to clarify that point even more, I think. Yeah.
Okay, so, and then we move into 2019, and we had Everwild.
Yes, for anyone that isn't familiar with Everwild, it was that kind of... I mean, we don't really know much about it. It's the new game from Rare, same developers as Sea of Thieves, and it's like a on-land, walking around exploring. There's monsters in it. We don't really know too many details about it, other than it's another Rare game.
Yeah. I mean, it looked very pretty in the trailer they showed off. Rare always do a great job of like the way their worlds look and their art style and the bright colors and everything. So it did look great. But not a lot's known about it, other than I think a couple of years ago, a random piece of information or news came out saying that it's completely gone back to the drawing board and they're rebooting it. So
yeah, doesn't surprise me. Maybe they saw my comment saying, "Oh, it's just Sea of Thieves, but on land."
Yeah. So that's another one that, has gone dark since they announced it, really. And in the same year, 2019, that was when they showed off Senua's Saga, Hellblade 2.
Yeah. Now, Hellblade, I loved Hellblade. And that was originally a PlayStation 4 exclusive, is that right?
Yes, I believe it was.
And then, Xbox bought the studio so they could guarantee
Ninja Theory.
Senua's Sacrifice on the Xbox. But yeah, we heard a lot about it. There was that cool trailer. Do you remember the cool trailer with all the tribal chanting and wow, 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 or whatever it was?
Yeah.
We had all that. It was really cool. Loads of information come out about it, and then just complete silence, and it just dropped. I'm like, where's it gone?
Yeah. And then I can't remember when. I think it was a couple of years later we got like a gameplay trailer.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we did. Yeah.
But I know since then it's made the move to Unreal Engine 5. The studio's moved to a complete new premises. So you can only think that's probably been rebooted along the line somewhere. So who knows when that's coming out? We have no release date, no nothing.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if they thought, we're putting a lot of money into this game. Is the Unreal 5 engine going to speed up your productivity and make the game look even better? Probably. If both of those boxes were ticked, then I would say that's probably what's happened. So we'll have to wait and see, though. But then there we go. We have to wait and see.
Yep. And then, so I mean, and that was they were announced in June of 2019. So
so early on then,
and a few months before the Series X and S released. So you kind of think that they were going to be launch titles, but
they're just spanning the generations now, aren't they?
Yeah,
the generation spanners.
Yeah. It's so confusing trying to think which ones are Series exclusives now, because they all work on all of them. So it's like, confusing. Xbox, you're confusing me.
Yeah.
And then we move into 2020, where we had Fable announced.
Oh yeah, well that was just a cinematic trailer, wasn't it? And nay more information about that.
No, it was literally just an announcement saying, yes, a new Fable is coming.
And don't worry, Peter Molyneux is nowhere near it.
No. Being developed by Playground Games, which is really interesting because all their previous games have been the Forza Horizon games. So,
just a small side note, I applied for a job on that.
Oh, really?
I didn't get it. But yeah, I applied to as a concept artist position at Playground Games, and unfortunately I didn't make the cut, but I was this close, Jay, to be working on Fable. You can't see my fingers, but they're really close together. Maybe next time. But we don't have any more information about that, unfortunately.
No, nothing now. And then in 2020 as well, we had State of Decay 3, the announcement for that.
State of Decay 2 was good when it worked.
Yeah. There were some really interesting bugs and glitches when that first came out, but I had fun. It was good fun in multiplayer.
Yes,
I think playing it on single player was quite boring, but if you got a load of mates together, it was quite fun to play.
Yeah, and I think that's the whole point of that game, isn't it? Like survive a zombie apocalypse together. And in that respect, they did that really well. I love the State of Decay games, but I still think I prefer the first State of Decay over the second one, though.
I played the first one more than the second one, so I suppose that probably speaks for volumes as well.
Yeah, but maybe I gave up on the second one a little bit too soon because the bugs just got to me too much. But I digress anyway. I'm looking forward to State of Decay 3 because, they have consistently improved them, and I think State of Decay 2 is kind of fixed now, like it's much better now. So maybe worth a revisit. But number 3, bring it on. I'll enjoy that.
Again, no information about that. All we had was a cinematic trailer.
Yeah, I remember that one. That was with the woman walking through the woods, wasn't it? In the snow or something.
The zombie deer or reindeer or whatever it was.
Yeah.
2020, where are we? Avowed.
Oh yeah, that was like the first person Oblivion style kind of fantasy game.
Yeah.
Which again we just had a trailer for, right?
It was just I can't think if there's been anything else since. The only trailer I remember is that one where they fired the arrow and it kind of went through all them different biomes and landed in a cave. It was like that one.
That's the one I remember.
Yeah, but that's Obsidian, I think, were doing that one. And, you got to give Obsidian their credit. I think so far they have been carrying Xbox with the games that they've launched on the system so far.
They've done a lot of work. Just list off those games that they've pumped out.
Obsidian, so what did they do? Outer Worlds.
Yep.
Grounded.
Yep.
And I'm pretty sure there was one more that I'm forgetting.
No.
Pentiment, that one was one they released recently.
Right, yep.
I think that was it. I can't remember what the other one was, but
it's a lot of games.
Give them their credit. Like they've been pumping out some games for the Xbox, and they've been really good.
Hats off to Obsidian. Well done.
The last announcement I've got here from, again, 2020 was Perfect Dark.
Oh, yeah, that one.
Mm-hmm, yeah. Which has gone perfectly dark.
So you said those are all announcements from, what was the first one? The earliest was 2019. Or was
2018.
it 2018? Okay. And then the last announcement there was 2020.
Yes.
And we're in 2023 now. And we've still not heard anything.
No, there's no new information out there at the moment. I mean, we're close to the E3 sort of time of the year.
Yeah.
And we might
that got cancelled.
I know, yeah.
So we're not going to get any info from E3.
Again, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
But so, the kind of the period of all these announcements is coming up. So maybe they might drop some more information, but
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard, isn't it? And to be honest, we're crapping on Xbox a lot here for their announcements, but there have been other promises from other, like Nintendo with Metroid Prime 4 was Like we got
Yes.
a logo and then nothing.
Nope. So yeah, that one got announced and went dark. And I mean, we can't talk about gaming announcements without talking about Ubisoft with Beyond Good and Evil 2.
Oh, didn't that recently reach a record of the longest game in development?
It did. It passed Duke Nukem Forever.
Yeah. That's a feat.
Yeah, I know, right? Because I think it's been like 14 years, I think.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
That's a long time.
Stupid. Yeah.
It's a long time.
And what's the other one? Skull and Bones.
Oh, well, that's apparently coming out though. In inverted commas.
I know. It's been coming out very soon. I think we're on like the 3rd release date in the past 6 months.
It's also on my list of games that are going to launch and be completely dead on arrival. I don't think it's going to last very long.
No, this is a game which is going to be either free to play very soon,
Yep.
or it's one of these like lawbreakers. They'll just turn off the server.
They'll just turn it off. You heard it here first, guys. We're calling it. Don't spend any money on Skull and Bones. Just wait and see.
Yeah, see. I like what you did there.
Yeah, you're waiting. See.
Yeah, or pirate it. Don't pirate it. That was a pun.
Yes.
I don't condone pirating.
No. Flashing disclaimer. Yes, we do not condone piracy here at Ministry of Gamers. Yeah, so a lot of promises, and we're still waiting for all that delivery. And on the flip side, because I was told in this comments, shaming me for, putting them down because, I feel like I'm always waiting for the games. I was like, well, hang on a minute, because Sony did actually deliver first-party studio games by Sony first-party studios for exclusive for the launch of the PlayStation 5, and they all worked. Like,
yes,
all of them came out relatively bug-free and very stable, with the exception of one or two that the names escape me. But yeah, there was one or two that were a bit ropey, but on the whole, they were really sturdy games. And the third-party games that came out around about the same time were kind of ropey. Like, they were all dodgy and broken and stuff. And we were waiting again for fixes and patches to come in to make them playable. So I was like, well, okay, there's lots of exclusives on the PlayStation, recent ones, and yet where are the Xbox ones and why aren't they here yet? And we were told about them in 2018. Where are they? They missed their own generation. Like, I'm gonna go on a bit of a rant now here, because
okay, here we go.
The Xbox Series X comes out, yeah, and they had one job, Jay. They had one job: make sure Halo was on the Xbox Series X when it launched. And what happened? It was a year late and half finished. And then, after the fact, when they said, "Oh, we are going to put co-op gameplay in Halo Infinite," they reneged on it and removed it, so we didn't even get co-op.
Nope.
What is that all about? So we waited for all that time. We got one exclusive, and I mean, okay, yeah, Flight Simulator came out as well. I mean, if you love planes, great, but I wasn't really too looking forward to Flight Simulator, if I'm really honest. Yeah. And the other one was Forza Horizon 5, which is, if you've played Forza Horizon, you've played them all. They're fairly the same. I mean,
I agree. Yeah.
Maybe that's a detriment. I'm not really a car gamer, I guess. Like, I don't really like racing games that much. I'm glossing over a lot of people's enjoyment there. So I'm sorry if you do like Forza Horizon. It's fine. I'm happy for you. I love that for you. But yeah, But where's the latest Gears? Where's all these exclusives that they promised and stuff? It just seems like they keep announcing things and never delivering. And they're kind of banking on Game Pass to prop them up, because everyone's like, oh, Xbox is great because Game Pass is so affordable. It's like, yeah, it is. But do you want to hazard a guess of the top let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The top 10. What are the top 10 most popular games on Game Pass right now, Jay? If you had to guess, just name a couple. I'll tell you if they're even there.
Popular games on Game Pass. Okay, well I know Halo Infinite's on there.
Nope.
Okay.
Not in the top 10.
Hi-Fi Rush.
Nope.
What else is even on Game Pass at the moment?
Now this is on the Xbox official website and their most popular category for Game Pass specifically.
Skyrim, that's on there.
No.
I don't know then.
Well, the top most popular game on Xbox Game Pass right now is Madden 2023.
Okay, of course it is.
Yeah, the second one is Infinite Guitars. In third place, we have Cities Skylines Remastered.
Okay.
FIFA 2022.
Yeah.
Battlefield 2042. Then NHL 2022. Madden 22. FIFA 20. Wait a minute, is this the right list? Am I even looking at the right list? This can't be right.
I mean,
that doesn't sound right, does it?
No.
But it's what I'm clicking on. I'm clicking on all console games most popular, and these are the top ones. But I mean, maybe that's of all time. But even then, where the hell's Halo? or any of them? So it just seems like, yeah, although Game Pass is like, you know, a thing. No, that can't be right.
It probably is. I mean, the sports games do have quite a large following.
that is mad.
They're always top of like purchase lists, and you know when they launch, they always top of the sales. It's again, if you're into that, great. It's a side of the gaming that really baffles me. I can think of nothing more boring than playing a football game.
Yeah,
if I'm honest. But again, taste is subjective. If that's for you, great. Because I mean, I love my RPGs, and I know they're not for everyone. So.
No, I'm sure the people that play football games probably go, RPGs, how boring.
Yeah, exactly. So, which is fine, but yeah, it just baffles me. But
yeah.
So the point of like, yeah, games that Xbox have launched since the Series X console. I mean, in that little rant of yours, you mentioned most of them. Halo Infinite.
Yep.
Flight Simulator, Forza Horizon 5. We did get Gears 5.
That was earlier though, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was very early on. And there's no word of what the Coalition are working on at the moment.
No.
And then we did have Grounded.
But that was a beta.
Obsidian ones. It was. I think it has fully launched now.
It has now.
Yeah. But I mean, again, I go back to Obsidian carrying Xbox because that was a brilliant game.
Yeah.
And then most recently we had Hi-Fi Rush, which was a surprise drop.
Yeah, and did really well. Like, really good game. And more of that. To be honest, like, don't leave us waiting for like 8 years or whatever, a whole generation hanging on some faint promises of, you know, possible games that are going to launch. Like, just drop them without, you know, just don't tell us.
Yeah, just surprise drop them with no fanfare. And I mean, and it did really well, and the game was fun to play. It worked. It's just crazy.
Yeah, I think there's something in that, you know. Don't announce the game, because like really, hype and sales drives for games, they don't really come into effect until like, you know, maybe 6 months before the game's out. So even if why don't they just announce it like, you know, 6 months before it comes out? You know, because you can't take pre-orders any sooner. You can't take people's money any sooner than that, really, can you?
No, and that's the other thing as well. It's just like, here's a good question. Anyone listening can answer in the comments. Do you still pre-order games? Like, knowing how a game can launch, do people still go out and drop money on these fancy editions to get them early when they know the game's probably going to be broken? And to that point as well, does the whole marketing thing and the years of build-up really make a difference? Like, if say a studio announced they were launching a game in 2 months' time, if you liked it, you'd still go out and buy it.
Yeah.
I don't know what the. I mean, yeah, okay, it's great for hype and to get people excited.
I think the problem is nowadays is that word itself, pre-order. What does it even mean? Because it used to mean, this game's popular. You may want to put your name down for one because the shop might sell out of copies on launch day. That was the whole point of it. So you could guarantee that you could get a copy of the game on launch day. Now it's like they're all digital. They ain't gonna run out. Why are we pre-ordering them? Just wait for them to come out.
Yeah, so I mean, and that's kind of the new tactic they have for making more money now, isn't it? So if you pre-order
editions,
if you pre-order the exclusive edition for an extra 20 quid, you get access to the game 4 days earlier than anyone else.
It's painful. Have you ever tried to look at one of those release charts when they have all the different editions and things? It's like, just give me the game.
Yeah, I think one of the most impressive one was the Sonic.
The
Sonic
there was memes about that.
I know, yeah. There's a whole bloody chart about what you get for each edition, and it's just like,
it's terrible. I know it's Sonic the Hedgehog and it's popular, and you want to maximize. Yeah, sure, whatever. At the end of the day, make a good game, and people will buy it.
I mean, yes.
It's science proven. Fun equals money in pocket. The kids in the arcades in the 80s didn't pump constant, money into arcade machines because they weren't having fun. Fun means they'll want to pay for it again and again.
Yeah, and it's just like, I mean, we've said it before. It's like all these companies are trying to profit the most out of games by delivering us half-baked experiences or the classic looter shooters, online service games.
Yep.
But they crash and burn very quickly. They would get much more money if they released a solid single player, or it doesn't have to be single player, but a solid game which works, that is a complete package and gets everyone excited and everyone goes out and buy it. Yeah.
I mean, it used to work. It worked very well back in the early 2000s and all that, with the GameCube era and the 360. I mean, honestly, if we just travel back a little bit to 2006, 2007, and like the games that were coming out year on year for the 360 were just incredible. One year you'd have like Halo 2. Not Halo 2, sorry, Halo 3. And then like you'd have like ODST like the year after, and then you'd have like Reach not long after that. And it was just like, it felt like all these mega games that we all like have fond memories of came out in relatively quick succession. And now it feels like a big game comes out on a console and you've got to wait until the next generation of consoles to see the sequel.
And it is a shame. And I mean, I know a lot of that comes down to technology's moved on and it's a lot more difficult to make games now.
I mean, yes and no. Because like the tech has moved on, yes, and it means we can have much better looking games and much bigger games, and that's all great and everything. However, I'd argue the point that it's not necessary. The games, I know there's a level of expectation of graphics and things like that, and certainly from some people, but there's a lot of people that, gameplay first, graphics don't really matter. If graphics really mattered, Fortnite wouldn't be like the number one played game ever of all time.
True.
Would it? Because let's face it, Fortnite looks very beautiful in its own way, with its own aesthetic and everything, but it's not really, you're not God of War Ragnarok levels, or it's not up there, is it?
No, and I suppose the same can be said for something like Minecraft.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's playability and functionality over anything else that made those games like super popular. Yeah, and I think that more devs should have the big heavy hitters, but also I think we should maybe just take a step back every now and again and make some stuff that isn't so demanding, that could still be really fun. And I'm pretty certain you're going to mention something about this in the next segment, so I'm gonna hold fire on what I was about to say, and then I'll go, haha, that's what I was about to say. So on that, I think we've ranted enough about this. Let's. What are the main takeaways here? That at the end of the day, yeah, there are games coming to Xbox, but when? And let's just hope that they can get better at it. And Phil Spencer can just come on, guys.
Because and a lot of the shade is thrown when these arguments start, the Xbox army then start throwing shade at the PlayStation, and it's like, oh well, what have PlayStation done? They've not done anything. And it's just like, let me just speed run a quick list of what's come out on the PS5 since the console released. I'm going to start with Destruction All Stars. Yes, that bombed. I'm well aware of that, but it was still a first-party title.
Yep.
But we move on. Horizon Forbidden West, Gran Turismo 7, Ratchet & Clank, Spider-Man Miles Morales, Returnal, Demon's Souls, Sackboy: A Big Adventure, and God of War Ragnarok.
Yeah, that's quite the list.
Yeah, and they're all massive blockbuster games.
Yeah.
And then obviously they've released the PSVR 2 recently with about 40 games.
Admittedly, a lot of those are ports as well, but
yeah, rehashes of old Oculus things and a couple of add-ons for pre-existing games. But there are some new ones.
Yep.
So yeah, PlayStation are doing a lot, and I want Xbox to catch up. I want a reason to be excited to play my Xbox Series X.
Yeah, more. For sure. Xbox is great, but let's face it, the only reason why it is great is Game Pass. And that, I would say, is being propped up a lot by the indie sector.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I feel like they're relying on the indies to flesh that out as much as possible. And then there's the occasional big, wow, day one Game Pass game that's amazing. And that's great. I appreciate those. It's kind of makes the whole, paying for the service completely worth it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, I'd say, look, it doesn't matter what you game on. If you want to play, this console war thing should just, give up. At the end of the day, there's great games on both consoles, on all the consoles. There's great games everywhere. And if you like games, just get this. If there's a game on something that you can't play because you have that console, then just get that console and play that game. It's that simple.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, money permitting. If you can't afford it, then don't do it. But it's just go where the games are, and I think we should all stop this brand loyalty thing. It doesn't matter what logo's on it. If there's a game on it that you like, then that's the thing that you should choose.
Yeah, and that does tie in nicely to the next segment.
Okay, so this next segment it's that time where we muse about some things that have happened at some time in some news, I guess.
Yes.
So Jay, take it away. What is in the news, the musings today?
Okay, so the first thing then, going off the back of what we just talked about, and I know you mentioned it earlier with Christopher Judge at the Gaming BAFTAs Awards. So he obviously portrayed Kratos in the new God of War games, and he received the award for Best Performance, I believe. So he took to the stage to deliver his speech, which was a lot shorter than the one at the Video Game Awards.
Yeah, they didn't have to play him out with music.
No, he did make a funny joke about it though. When he got up to the podium, he looked at his watch, so it was and he got a bit of a laugh. So, he took it in good.
Yeah, it was good.
Good stride. But he mentions the console wars, and I mean, I'll quote exactly what he said here. So, no matter what platform you love, no matter what game you love, you're still part of the gaming community. Give each other a break. And I think he sums it up perfectly there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, we trash talk about games and exclusives and systems and all the time. And really, all it is we're just disappointed in certain aspects, and we just want things, the promises that were made to just come to fruition, or, but it doesn't exactly... no one's saying oh, it's all Microsoft's fault, or it's no, they made the promise, just where's the thing?
Yeah, exactly. It's just we come at this argument, as you said, at a point of we want to play our Xbox, please give us something to play.
Yes.
But I wouldn't dream of going on social media and attacking someone because they say they love PlayStation.
No, that's just silly. That's a one-way ticket to Foolsville.
Yeah. So as Christopher Judge says, give each other a break, guys. Come on, we're all in this together. Let's make it a better community.
Good message. Good message. I like that.
But on that as well, so the BAFTA Out of Game Awards obviously happened earlier this week, and I mean, God of War Ragnarok took most of the awards. I think 6 out of the 14.
Wow.
I mean, well deserved. It was a great game.
Yeah.
But the surprise game, or the surprise winner, was for best game. And that went to Vampire Survivors.
Aha! That's what I was going to mention. Yes. Because it just ties in with that last little point I made, that graphics don't always matter if you can have something that's super engaging, that loads of people get involved with. It's humbling because it's kind of like, yes, anyone, no matter what your budget or your team size, you can make something award-winning and worth playing. And that's a great thing. Now, is it better than God of War Ragnarok? No. But I think it's the engagement that it got with people and the community that it brought together is what it definitely wins for, in my opinion. Yeah, because they won best game and best game design. Yeah. And you said, as long as a game is addictive, fun to play, feels rewarding, it's a great game. It doesn't need like Oscar-winning performances from big actors and this story that's like so epic that it could be its own film. It just needs to be fun to play. Exactly. Snakes and Ladders is still a fun game. Yeah. It's so, simple is sometimes best. Yeah, so fair play to Vampire Survivors for that. Yeah. I think that is brilliant. Hat tip. Another funny award to shout out was the best multiplayer game. Okay. Go on, have a guess. I was going to try and guess, but I'm probably going to be completely wrong. I just have a guess. What would you think best multiplayer game would be? Best multiplayer game? Well, I mean, I'd assume Fortnite. Yeah, so the winner was Elden Ring. Wait, what? Oh, okay. Because you can summon people, right? You can. And I just love the fact that won over Call of Duty, FIFA, Overwatch. That is great. That is great. Fair play to the anyone that voted. Yes. Hat tip to you as well. Yeah, that's a sneaky and clever move. Well done. I like it. It's like, well, Elden Ring's got multiplayer in it, so we'll vote for that. Yeah, and I think it's great because I think people are just getting bored with the same copy and paste Call of Duty, and Overwatch bombed. Let's be honest, Overwatch 2 had nothing on the first one. No, if that was probably a topic for another day, but that was just so much proof that you can't catch lightning in a bottle twice. You just they had something magical with the first one. And whatever they did with the second one, it's just all the shiny sheen has gone. The feeling has just left it. Yeah. So it's a shame. It is a shame. It is a shame. But the nature of the beast, I suppose. You can't pull the wool over our eyes anymore. No. We can see that you've done nothing to it and trying to resell. Well, not even reselling it. It went free to play. Yeah. Oof, which is a massive shame because that nice collector's edition of Overwatch I've got is now effectively worthless. Yeah, same. I mean, I would love to be able to fire up the game and play the old, what I bought, know, and I think that sucks, by the way. Like, can you imagine, like, well, it's happening. I bought a game. I'd expect to be able to play that game, I expect to be able to play what I bought, not just like it die. People send products back to the shops, for those reasons. Oh, this doesn't work anymore. Well, yeah, you can't get a refund. Why? Well, it doesn't work anymore. Yeah, and I don't think they still do now, but I remember when Overwatch 2 first came out, places were still selling Overwatch. Oh. Well, you could still go into Game or CEX and you could buy a copy of Overwatch, and it's like, well, that doesn't exist anymore. You can still buy copies of Evolve. I saw one in CEX the other day. I think they turned the server back on for that, or there is a way that you can still play it. I'm pretty sure. On Xbox? I don't know. I don't know. I remember reading something about it. I might have to double check that, but Okay, because I thought they turned them all off.
Yeah, they did, but I'm pretty sure somewhere or someone they've managed to turn it back on in a basic form.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, that's good then. It's something.
Yeah. I mean, not that the game was any good anyway, but...
No. It had its fans.
I suppose.
Yeah.
So, I suppose the next biggest piece of news this week we need to talk about is the fact that E3 has now officially been cancelled. I mean, we kind of saw that coming.
Was it really to anyone's surprise?
No.
I don't think so. Because, I mean, essentially, it's like... There've been people pulling out of E3, the E3 showcase for years, and it's like every year it's like, oh, Nintendo's not coming, and oh, this person's not coming, and there's always oohs and ahs at these companies not showing up, and then Sony didn't show up, did they?
No, Sony kind of they used to do. They had a bigger presence at the Tokyo Game Show.
Yep.
And then they started doing their PlayStation. What do they call them? PlayStation Access, or whatever they call them.
Yeah,
or PlayStation Direct, or no, it's Nintendo Direct, whatever they call them.
Yeah.
So they've started doing those, and Nintendo with their Nintendo Directs. Xbox obviously have a big show over the road from E3. They have it separate.
Yeah, so
in
it's
their own Microsoft Theater, and with them owning Bethesda now, their showcase will go hand in hand. So Bethesda won't be there, and then Ubisoft pulled out, and it's just like, it all fell apart.
I mean, Ubisoft probably pulled out because what have they got to show?
Skull and Bones and Beyond Good and Evil 2.
I mean, that's it, right?
Yeah, and let's be honest, we can't have an E3 or a Ubisoft showcase without some cringy Just Dance announcement.
Well, yeah, that would have happened. Well, it's not going to happen this year.
No, unless they do their own online event.
Yeah, who makes those games?
Event.
The Just Dance ones.
They're Ubisoft ones.
Oh, they are Ubisoft. Yeah. Well,
I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
So no official E3, but obviously expect a lot of the studios to hold their own digital sort of events. I know Microsoft are still housing theirs at the Microsoft Theater, and then you've got the Summer Games Fest, which is actually going to be an in-person event now. I bet Jeff Keighley is laughing at the fact that he started that to compete with E3, and now E3 kind of doesn't exist.
Yeah, he's definitely had a chuckle to himself once or twice about this news. I feel certain.
Yeah. So, there's still stuff to be excited for and watch, and we're obviously going to get new announcements. They just won't be the whole E3. I mean, at the moment, only this year's cancelled, but I can see going forward, I don't think they're going to run it anymore. So
yeah, it's
a little bit sad. I used to like E3 week, staying up to stupid o'clock in the morning to watch the showcases live, and
it was good. Like, same thing. Like, because obviously some of the big ones were like on during the day, like roughly around like 3-4 o'clock kind of thing. I just remember at my old job, we used to all go into my boss's office and like close the door, and we'd just watch the Microsoft showcase or whichever one it was that was on. And I will miss that. But then, basically, if we're going to just sum this up and put a neat little bow on it, E3, let's just say they're Netflix, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just roll with me on this.
Okay.
So E3 and Netflix, and then all the people that put shows on Netflix realized that they're like, oh, wait a minute, we could put our own shows on our own thing, on our own presentations. So instead of Netflix having everything, all the other streaming services were born. So it's kind of like, E3's like was a central place for everyone, and then everyone went, well, we can put our own shows on and just show our games in our own time when we want to.
For probably a lot less money.
Yeah, because I can't imagine attending E3 would have been cheap. No. At that level, definitely would have cost quite a pretty penny for a booth there. So, years. So is that the end of the news?
That's the end of the big news.
Okay.
There's some quick fire things like
quick fire.
Yeah. So there's one of my tabs keeps playing audio. That's distracting. Microsoft have they could be teasing cheaper expandable storage cards.
Okay,
So
they're quite expensive right now, aren't they?
They are very expensive because Seagate holds the monopoly on them. But there's pictures out and about at the moment of other companies having the sticks. So there might be more competition in that market now. So if you do need expandable storage for the Xbox Series X and especially the S, that might be coming soon without having to drop like almost $300 just to get an extra terabyte.
That is a lot for just a terabyte. That is a hell of a lot.
So it's crazy. So fingers crossed that comes in and a bit more competition, which is always good.
Yes.
And then also The Last of Us released on PC recently, and people are asking for refunds because, again, it was another poor PC port.
Yeah, and that, I'll briefly touch on that. And people are just saying, it's this same company that handled another game. Was it Arkham?
It was, yeah. So the company that did it was Iron Galaxy, who were quite infamous for doing the Arkham Knight PC port. Yeah,
lazy port. And I know, obviously, in this case, in this instance, it's just unfortunate that it's that company, again, doing a less than stellar job on porting a game over. But the problem is these games, specifically the PlayStation exclusives, were designed to run on PlayStation hardware. So it doesn't surprise me that there are many different PC configurations out there, many different cards and memory usage things, and so many people have so many different ways of setting up their computers that it doesn't surprise me that there are a lot of errors and, with different people. And I've seen all the comments are like, oh yeah, it runs terribly, it does this, it does that. And then the next comment down is like, well, it runs fine for me.
Yeah.
And I think that's the downside of PC gaming, is that you don't all get the same experience. So I think that's a good reason why consoles should always exist, because they're a good benchmark for developers, because they know, right, X amount of people are gonna all have this hardware in their home, and we know it runs beautifully on it. So that's a win for them. It's a win for the players as well, because they know that whatever they put on that console, it's going to run the same as everyone else's game.
Yeah.
And I think that's great. I can't see any downside to that.
No.
It's only positives. So, yeah, it doesn't surprise me PC's having a lot of problems with that. They have a lot of problems in general with games. It's just unfortunate that it's such a big one. For this company to drop the ball again on something like The Last of Us, it's like, come on, And
I think a lot of the arguments come from this same company. They also did the PC port for Uncharted Legacy of Thieves collection.
Yeah.
Some of the same issues that were present in that are in this one.
No.
So which isn't great, but as you said, it must be so difficult testing localization to PC when you've got so many different hardware configurations and
for sure.
to think of.
I know it's possible, because people do it all the time, and I guess there are some companies out there that port games much better than other companies that port games, and it could just be due to lack of experience or problems at the studios or whatever it is. But it's not an easy task, but it can be done with a much better success rate than this company has currently displayed. So, yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah, so we'll see. Watch this space. It'll get better.
Yes.
And then hopefully future ports will be a little bit smoother.
Fantastic. Great.
And that's it for the news.
Nice. Which brings us swiftly on to our lovely listener comments.
Yes.
We should really get jingles for these, shouldn't we?
That would be a good idea.
I need a button that I can press on my desk that just plays a view the listener comments something like that.
Jingles in between the sections or something.
Yeah. Okay, we'll add that to the notes. Create jingles for the podcast.
Yeah.
Okay, so Jason, who is our first lovely listener comment?
Okay, so the first comment was Matthew Nichols, who says, the worst thing to ever happen to consoles was the ability to connect it to the internet.
I kind of agree.
Yeah, you're not wrong there for many reasons.
Many of which that we talked about in our last podcast.
Yes. And then he mentions about the limited run, because we spoke about last week on the last podcast, we spoke about companies that still were releasing physical editions of like indie titles and digital only games, and I mentioned limited run, but apparently they're quite a shady company.
Really?
Yeah, there was they had some issues with Streets of Rage 4. Apparently limited run announced a physical release well in advance of the release, and then there was just no word of it, and I think some buggery happened.
Yeah, so just briefly on this, making physical games, physical media, obviously you have to jump through many hoops, and there's lots of lines and barriers to cross, and even licensing things and everything. So the way limited run have to operate, there's a lot of hoops to jump through is what I'm trying to get at. And if one of those hoops they stumble, it kind of goes down the chain and kind of screws everything. So yeah, they can give release dates and they can say, yep, the game's going to be out then, you can buy it now, but you could be waiting. I mean, I have waited for like up to 2 years after I gave my money for a game from limited run because of certain manufacturing issues and all that kind of stuff. It's not a simple thing to do a small run of a very popular item, apparently. But
yeah,
I feel your pain, and when it does happen, like, it's very disheartening and upsetting. But I don't think that any company like that goes out of their way to do something in with malicious intent. It's usually just some faffery that's happened behind the scenes that they can't really talk about.
Yeah, at least you'd like to think so. But I mean, there are obviously other companies out there. Just limited run was the one that I kind of mentioned in the podcast.
Yeah, there are. None other come to mind immediately, but I know there are. I know there are some. It's just limited run's the biggest one.
Yeah, that's the one that I've kind of bought from in the past. That's why their name's always in my mind when I think about it.
Yeah.
He also mentions something else we talked about the podcast last week with. I remember people changing their names to Xbox turn off on the Call of Duty.
Yeah.
So yeah, someone will go, "Oh my god, that's Xbox off," and then the console will just turn off in the middle of a match. That was,
classic.
Fun times. The Kinect.
The Kinect. Long may. Do you remember what it was called before it was called the Kinect?
Project Natal.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. 10 points to you. Yeah. Project Natal. Kind of sounds like a chocolate spread, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
Anyway, moving on.
It lasted as long. But yeah, thank you, Matthew, for your comment.
Thank you.
Next comment was from Stephen, just a quick one, saying, geez, this is a blast from the past.
Well, hey, yeah, we're back, baby.
It is, we're back. Talking rubbish again, as always.
Yes.
But thanks for your comment. Kenneth Roberts, next.
Hey, Kenneth.
Haven't tried the Harry Potter game yet, but it does look pretty good.
Yeah.
It's good to know that you're liking the Resident Evil 4 remake. It does look good from what I've seen. We'll definitely be getting it. I would definitely, I'd highly recommend it. I played a little bit more of it. Still absolutely loving it. It's amazing.
I have a sealed copy of it on my desk in front of me right now. I don't know when it's going to get unsealed, but I have it.
Just add it to your list.
Add it to the list. To the pile.
The pile of shame.
Yeah. You know, I think that might make a good topic for our next podcast. Bren's pile of shame. Let's go down them one by one and talk about them.
We do not have that sort
We don't have
time. He also said that he's been playing God of War Ragnarok.
Nice.
I think we asked the question about what people have been playing this year.
Yes.
So he said he's been playing God of War Ragnarok. A really good story. Feels just as good to play as God of War 2018. I agree. It was an amazing game.
Very good.
He also replayed Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order in preparation for the new one, Jedi Survivor.
That's soon, isn't it?
Yes, the end of this month.
Oh, yes. Cal Kestis rides again.
Yes, I am really looking forward to it. I love the first game.
Yeah.
He mentions that he hopes the map is easier to use in the new game because finding collectibles was a bit of pain with the,
wasn't it one of those like holographic 3D things that you have to kind of like pan around from memory?
I can't remember. It's been a while since I've played it. I might have to go back and replay it myself.
Yeah. Maybe I think. Well, I say I will, but will I?
No.
Too busy doing podcasts.
You won't even play this one when it comes out. You'll just add it to your pile.
I will. Yeah. I still won't have finished Hogwarts by the time it comes out.
He also says he's played Super Stardust Portable.
Super Stardust Portable.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
Know what that is, if I'm honest.
I'll have to give it a Google.
Yeah. And Siphon Filter Dark Mirror. Well, Siphon Filter.
Is that an old one?
I would assume so. I don't think there's been a new Siphon Filter for a while.
I was going to say, like, Siphon Filter Dark Mirror. That sounds like a new one. I'm gonna have to research that.
Yeah. Great games, though.
Nice.
And then he asks us a question. What games would you like to see get the fancy remake treatment? So his picks are Metal Gear Solid and Dino Crisis.
Yeah, two good picks. On that, actually, like, weren't people so disappointed about the Capcom announcement?
Exo Primal.
Yeah. Like, we got teasers of like a dinosaur, and then everyone was like, "Oh my god, Capcom! They're remaking Dino Crisis."
There was even a character in it that resembled Regina as well. She was like red hair, like dark colored, like bodysuit sort of thing. And it was like, oh my God, no, we're not.
No. It turns out Capcom just like trolling us with redheads in bodysuits. So yeah, no Dino Crisis. But Exo Primal, yeah, it looks like a thing.
I mean, it is coming to Game Pass, so we will get it for free. And to be fair, the reviews I've heard on it so far have been pretty positive, as in it's a lot of fun to play. It
kind of reminded me of Lost Planet 2, like that kind of vibe, where it's like multiplayer focused squads and you're running around trying to go through levels, shooting up bad guys that in this case are just dinosaurs. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe, but to answer your question, I'm not really sure what I'd like to have remade. Like, I don't know, maybe Shinobi, or Shadow Dancer on the Mega Drive. I'd like to see a new one of those. To be fair, also, put me on the spot. I don't really know. To be honest, all the ones I would have suggested, they've already remade them. Which would have been like, Resident Evil 2, which is my favorite PlayStation 1 game. And yeah, they kind of already redid that. So yeah, I'd have to think a bit harder about that for any new ones. But yeah, most of them, I kind of got what I wished for, to be honest.
Yeah. If I was to have to pick a couple of games, I would say, I mean, it won't be to everyone's taste, but Final Fantasy VIII. Again, does it need remaking? Probably not, because I still play through it every single year and still love it. But I would love for it to get the sort of treatment that Final Fantasy VII had got. I think that would be really cool.
Yeah.
And also, I mean, after playing all the Resi remakes recently, I really hope that they remake Code Veronica.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that would be cool. Yeah, that would be really cool. Because, it would just bring it in line with the new ones. And
yeah, I really hope they do that.
I mean, okay, not a remake, but I definitely hope they do another game featuring Rebecca Chambers and Billy Cohen as well. I think that would be cool to see.
Yeah, definitely. They're very forgotten characters.
Yeah.
They need to bring them back in some capacity.
It's about time.
I would definitely want to play a game with them in it.
For sure.
But, I mean, you mentioned Metal Gear Solid there. I mean, Snake Eater was a thing on the GameCube. I'd like for them to make that more widely playable. I mean, okay, Konami, and we know what they're like. But there's also rumors that Metal Gear Solid 3 remake is definitely happening and will be coming out soon.
Oh, nice. Okay, that would be good to see. But without Kojima?
Yeah. So it'd be another team handling a remake. I mean, the game's already there, so it probably doesn't need Kojima, but without Kojima's touch, it's just not going to feel the same.
No.
But yeah, so those would be my picks. He also says, just a last comment on the end, because we asked for if anyone could see references in the image that we're using. Little Easter eggs. Tom Cruise picture referencing the Top Gun video. Yeah.
Yep.
And then he mentions the can next to your laptop.
Yep.
Referencing what's in my cup. Now,
that's incorrect.
It is incorrect, but it's a good guess.
It's a good guess. But no, it's not what's in my cup. It's, well, you know, you'll have to find out.
Yeah.
I will give you a clue, though, because they're easy to find on our channel, because all of the references are from videos that are in the Gamegasm Cinema category. If you find that playlist on our channel, they're all in there. So all the references are from those videos. But yeah, thank you.
Yeah, no, a good guess. And he mentions the Game Tank.
Oh yeah,
the classic channel.
The classic channel, yeah, Game Tank, yeah. Wow, that was going back to 2009.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, long time ago, lifetime ago.
Yeah, really is. But thanks, Kenneth. Thanks for your comments.
Thank you so much.
Moving on to next, Outdaft UK.
Outdaft! How's it going?
He says, the thing that irritates me most about Sony moaning about Activision is the fact they are worried about Microsoft owning Call of Duty and not Crash and Spyro. Fair point.
Yeah. I mean, that would be a big deal, wouldn't it?
Yeah, two original Sony properties now being owned by Microsoft, potentially.
Yeah, problematic. Yeah, good
also,
point.
They don't seem to be doing anything with them, which is really annoying.
Yeah, I mean, it would be lovely to see. I mean, we had the Spyro remakes not too long ago.
The Spyro remakes, they did remake the original Crash trilogy, and then we got Crash 4, but the latest game is some Crash Bandicoot Royal Rumble rubbish.
Royal Rumble rubbish.
Yeah. But yeah, like, where are the classic Crash Bandicoot and Spyro games? I want more of those.
Yeah, it would be nice to see more done with them, but I don't know. Maybe we need something different from those, or maybe, just chucking it out there, but perhaps even a new character platformer. Yeah, it'd be nice to see a new one every now and again.
Something new? Are you crazy?
I know, a new IP?
Yeah.
Shut me down.
In this generation, we don't get new IPs or anything like that. Yeah. New character mascots?
Yeah.
Dream on.
I kind of miss that era of time where everyone was just trying to make a mascot, like, Bubsy and all that. And you remember Bubsy?
Yeah, I remember Bubsy.
Bubsy, Bobcat. Yeah. Yeah, it was just a good time. It was a good time, like all those crazy mascots, and now they're all gone.
Interesting time. Let's see people running around in Crash Bandicoot suits and everything, and throwing apples at people waiting in line to get a PlayStation. It was just, an interesting time.
Yeah, for sure.
He also brings up the Hogwarts thing, just being a very loud, small minority of people.
Yeah, it does seem to be that way. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to go into what else you said there because I'm not kicking off that argument.
Fair enough.
And then he says one reason that he prefers discs is he doesn't get, like, pretty much what you said, actually. He doesn't get into games as easily if he has loads of his fingertips. The laziness of not wanting to switch discs makes me give a chance to get into it.
Yeah, no, I mean, there is something to be said for having too much choice. Like, we've all done it. We've browsed through Netflix, and we've spent more time browsing through Netflix than we have actually watching something.
Oh yeah,
it happens all the time. And I think if you booted up Netflix and they just said, no, you can watch this, or this, just 3 choices. Mm-hmm. I think, like, a lot more people would watch those 3 things, obviously, but I think it's less choice can be better sometimes. Limitation can free you up a bit more. It's like, well, I can only play this or this, so I'm just going to play one of these.
Yeah, and that's what it was back when we were kids. Like, you'd spend all your hard-earned money buying a game, and that was what you got.
Yeah.
If you didn't like it, tough.
Yeah, it's tough.
You spent your money on it, play it until you can afford the next game.
Exactly. You've got to learn to like this, so keep playing it.
Yeah, so it does make sense.
Yeah.
But thanks for your comment.
Yeah, thank you.
Next, we have AJ Metz.
Hey, how's it going?
Had an update on Switch recently that was mere seconds and thought, I'm so glad this generation doesn't have the problem I used to have on PS3. So I was shocked to hear in this podcast that it's still an issue. I don't have an Xbox Series or PS5 console, so had only assumed that there were improvements since the PS3 update headache days.
No. If anything, I'd say it's gotten worse.
Yes.
Like, tenfold. The games are bigger, and there's just the delivery is internet, and if you've got bad internet, then kind of sucks. It really does suck, and often bad internet is not down to the choice of the consumer. It's down to your area and what's available in it.
Yeah.
And if your internet service provider can only, the exchange can only handle a certain amount, then that's what you're getting. And you have to wait for people in vans to come to your street and go, right, yes, there are enough houses here that want to upgrade, so we'll upgrade the exchange. And yeah, it can be horrible, especially if you live in an area where there are lots of old people that don't have the internet.
Yeah, and I feel sorry. I mean, I don't know if many of these exist anymore, but I feel sorry for people that have capped downloads on their internet.
Yeah, because
so if you only get like 40 gig or whatever a month, like 17 of that is your Call of Duty patch every single week, and it's like, okay.
Yeah, it quickly adds up. And yes, I believe there are still data caps and people with capped internet, because you always see them comment saying like, well, that's my internet, screwed for this month because I've got to, if I want to play this game, then I've got to pay an extra thing on my plan or whatever. It's just it's a nightmare. So yeah, I'd say the problem's gotten worse.
yeah, it's definitely still there.
Yeah.
But thanks for your comment.
Thank you.
And lastly, we have Christian Denning.
Hey, Christian.
Regarding waiting for games to download, I feel like I've gone full circle on this now. I used to have to load tapes on my Specky back in the day, and it now feels fairly similar. If only they can install that lovely horrid sound and flashing screen edges to the download screen. I feel like I'm back in the 80s. Yeah, it does feel like we've gone back in like a big circle.
Yeah, you are right, because I used to laugh, right? I used to tell people like, back on the Spectrum, you used to pop a tape in and play, because you'd have to like hit play to play it through, which was the loading. It's loading all the data, and then you'd like rewind the tape or whatever, and then you could play the game. Mm-hmm. And we used to joke that like, put the tape in, and by the time it's loaded, you could go and make a cup of tea, come back, and we'd all laugh and be like, ha 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 ha, laughs in Xbox 360, like of how fast everything is. It's just like, I'll just put the disc in now and it plays, and then we've just gone right into the next generation, and we're all going off to make cups of tea, or you have to plan when you're going to play your game around downloads and patches, and it's awful. And the worst part of it, is thinking, I really fancy playing that game, and then you go to put it in and you can't, because the download's going to take 3 hours, and that's it. That's you. That your time that you thought, I could have a quick go on that, gone. It's so crushing.
Yeah, I mean, we've had it a few times when we've met up to play a game and we put it in and there's like a huge update. So we just leave that on in the background and usually jump to the 360 or another console and just play a different game. Yeah,
exactly. That's a niche in the market, isn't it? We need to have a console come out purely to play games while you wait for next generation games to install.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and don't believe this rubbish of it's ready to play, because it never is.
No, it really
usually that
isn't.
means you can boot up to the menu and then that's it.
Yeah, it's they have that like, it's ready to play, but like, is it though? Is it really?
No.
I don't think so.
You can just boot up the application. At least it's better than what they used to do, where they used to progress cap you. I always remember our time trying to play Dying Light, where we kept getting to doors and it was just like, this part of the game hasn't loaded yet.
Well, I hate to break it to you, but they did that in Hogwarts Legacy.
Did they really?
They did. So the prologue, not the prologue, the bit you play first. No spoilers. I won't say anything in case you haven't played it. But you get to the point where you reach, the start of the game. The title.
I know the bit you mean. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's where it said, now we're waiting to install the rest of the game. So it lets you play the first little bit, and then it content blocks you until you've installed the rest of the game. So in my opinion, it's just not worth playing it until it's fully installed. I
always wait until the disc is fully installed, the update's fully applied, and then I'll go into it.
Yeah,
you're going to get a better time.
Yeah, for sure. Wait for it to fully install. And if it's a Ubisoft product, then definitely make sure you wait for it to all install. Otherwise it won't work. I had that issue with Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Do you remember me telling you about that?
Yeah.
Yeah. God, I had such a horrendous time with that. Basically, to cut a long story short, I had to turn the PlayStation 5's sleep mode so it doesn't go into rest mode if you leave it alone. Because if you're installing a Ubisoft game, I don't know if it's all of them or if it's just Valhalla, but if you're installing Valhalla and your console goes into rest mode, it just corrupts the entire game, so you can't actually boot it.
Crazy that is.
Yeah, and it took me a long time to figure that out as well. So you can imagine how many times I had to like uninstall and reinstall it, and like, it was painful. It was painful.
And all that work just to play Valhalla. I mean, was it worth it?
No, no, not in the slightest. I just wanted to hit some things as a Viking for a bit. But yeah, and then it just became is there something wrong with my PS5? Is it broken? Is the hard drive like corrupting? Is there a problem? And yeah, it just sent me into a mad panic of having to desperately try to fix it, which I did, and then I realized, it's actually a Ubisoft problem. Thanks, Ubisoft.
Yeah,
brilliant. So yeah. Anyway, I think have we come comfortably to the end of episode 3 of our podcast?
We have. So yeah, thank you for all your comments. And as always, if you want to leave us a comment, then you can ask us questions, give us some topics to talk about, or just generally comment on what we said today. You can leave a comment on the YouTube video, which you'll find at youtube.com/Ministry of Gamers mug.
That's youtube.com/Ministry of Gamers MOG. I'm going to say that in
another one for the sound.
I'm going to say that in a more cringy way every time. No, we'll get a sound. We'll get a jingle.
Yeah, another one for the jingle.
We'll get a jingle. Write that down. Yes. Comment address. Jingle. Brilliant. Yeah. So thank you very much to everyone that commented. It's been great reading out your comments. I love hearing from everyone, and it's fantastic that you're still listening to us whittle away after all these years about all this stuff that we like. It's a pleasure to be here, and I'm glad to be able to do this again. I think it's really fun. So and hopefully we'll get to speak to you all again soon in the next episode, which seems to be weekly.
At the moment, it's weekly. Yeah, we're getting better.
We'll keep keep this trainer rolling. But anyway, that's all the time we've got for today. And I've been Bren.
And I've been Jay.
And we'll get better at outros next time. Bye.
Yes. Bye-bye.